Good idea. It's the Morning Joe to your Morning Joe. It's the blue collar to your blue collar. It's the lab coat to your scientists. Speaking of scientists, y'all want to learn something today?
What do we have on the agenda today, folks? Wait, let me say that again when I'm not moving.
We
papers.
have an agenda?
Right, maybe I'll play us in. You know, I really want to do an opening song today. Well, I want to do an opening song today. It's going to be about agendas, and I'm gonna kick us off.
Do it.
All right,
Hell yes. Agendas are a construct.
I'm horny for this agenda.
I've got an agenda today. I've got an agenda. A whole lot of stuff to talk about. I've got an agenda, and I want to share my agenda. I have a lot of things to talk about. Today we're gonna talk about a lot of things, 'cause I have a lot of things to talk about on my agenda. Welcome to Good Idea. This is my agenda for Good Idea. Today we're going to talk about lots of things. Welcome to Good Idea, everybody. Today we're going to talk about lots of things. What are some of the things you guys want to talk about?
Bill told me that agendas are a construct, and it took me a second. Then I got it.
Exactly. Yo, assuming I didn't miss a hilarious pun, philosophically, agendas are a construct. They begin in the mind, and they affect the other constructs in the room that are ideas, and prepare the mind for future constructs, which are action plans, organizational systems.
Jeff knows all about it.
Goofs.
I also wanted to make sure you guys knew, because our listeners can't see this, but as soon as Aiden started singing, Bill took his headphone out and scrambled over to his bag and came back with his harmonica I got this shit.
Oh.
There is a punchline
You
here.
were saying, "Oh God, this is
New
terrible."
rule.
And he pulled it out.
Bill is allowed to guest anytime he wants to. That's my new rule. Bill, that's an invitation. Anytime we're recording this show, you are welcome to join us. You have the right spirit to be here. That is the correct spirit for this show, and I want you here whenever you'd like to be. Jeff, did I hear a note there?
British consultant, British correspondent or consultant, whatever. You can make your own title. That's how we do it here at Good Idea.
That's on the agenda.
I really want to talk about that cowboy agenda.
George, tell me all about the cowboy agenda.
Well, you see, you gotta wake up at 4 a.m. Sometime around dusk. You gotta try to wake up before them cattle. You gotta make sure to wake up. You gotta get dressed, get showered, get that good greens, get that good food. Try not to be misogynistic.
I wish I knew what he was saying.
You wish you knew.
I don't know. It's like when my dad goes off on one of his rants and I just go, uh-huh, that's right, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. Dad, you did it. Yeah.
Dab?
Yeah, Dad,
Show
you
enough,
dab.
Dad.
You did it. That's what a dab is. Dad, you did it. Yeah, you are supposed to use both legs. Do it again.
You're
Do
doing
it
it,
again,
Peter.
Dad.
You're doing it.
Dad, you're doing it. Dad. Dad, you're doing it. And the way you're doing it is a good idea. Good idea is a brain trust your brain can trust. It is also a comedy and philosophy podcast where we find creative, actionable solutions to your real life problems. I'm Aiden Kinsella.
What's up?
I'm G Daly. I'm so sorry. I'm here.
It's okay. G was busy on their phone, so it's fine. That's important. Who else is
I'm
here?
so sorry that I'm here.
I am a cloud of nothingness, also known as George. But seriously, I'm George. What's up?
George is
Hey.
a cloud of nothingness. He
Interesting
also
that the
goes
cowboy
by
agenda is being set
George.
Jeff, you have to introduce
by
yourself, dude.
an indistinct cloud.
Jeff, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, Jeff Richardson. That's me.
And my guest is Bill
What's up?
Smith. I just knocked my headphone out of my ear. It's fine.
Yes, hello. I'm Bill Smith. I'm not from round here.
Really?
You
Holy
don't
shit.
say.
Holy
You're
fucking
not from
shit.
around here.
I had
Bill, where
no
are you
idea.
from? Bill, where are you from?
Are you from Winchestershire?
Are you from Winchester,
No, I'm
Shire?
from Winchester.
Ah, yes, the formal name.
No, that's the no, that's the county next door to mine.
Oh, got it.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have
Just
a
down the road
wonderful
from
guest. We
Downton
got
Abbey.
Bill Smith in the house. We got Aiden Kinsella, G Daly, George Diaz, Jeff Richardson, and Bill Smith today on the podcast. Good idea. And we have a whole lot to do. We had a suggestion from Jeff, one of your very good friends and RPG buddies, about what our overarching show should be about, a theme for our show. Can you read that off for us from the Twitter? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Is this a recent
This was
Twitter?
a recent Twitter interaction. I want you to read it off because I don't feel like opening my phone. G, George, Bill, do you guys have anything to say about that?
I say we get some sort of M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end.
Are we supposed to have something to say about that?
I don't know. I was just curious if you did. I like George's idea about the M. Night Shyamalan twist. Maybe I've been looking at my phone the whole time. Earlier, I talked about how G was looking at their phone, and that was important, so that would be in character. It would make sense.
Maybe I'm not a cowboy. Maybe I'm a city slicker.
Oh, George might be a
I know we're
city
just
slicker.
in the agenda phase, but when you answer what's the M. Night Shyamalan situation, if you answer it early, it's no longer an M. Night Shyamalan situation.
You see, that
it's more
is
like a
the M. Night
Stephen
Shyamalan.
King.
That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Jeff, that's the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh, put the twist at the start.
Put the twist at the start. And then there will be another secret twist at the end. But by the end, everyone else will have forgotten about it. Like the listener will hear this right now, but then the next episode will be released later. And so they won't know. So they'll get to the end of it and there will be a secret surprise M. Night Shyamalan twist after the first secret surprise M. Night Shyamalan twist.
It should be after the credits, like a Marvel movie.
Good idea. We'll return.
G and Bill are having a secret private conversation. Jeff, did you find the tweet?
It turns out Good Idea was dead the whole time.
What?
You can't reveal it now. Jeff, did you find the Jeff, did you find the tweet?
The only one I can find is Plagues.
We've got to write a new twist now. He's just giving it away.
One. Here, it's not the one that it's the one that says plagues, but it also says another thing. It says I suggest you do a show about.
This is from Dr. Mod. Right. I was getting to that. This is from Dr. Mod. I suggest you do a show about grounding and reducing anxiety.
I thought that was a
Pondering
really
emoji.
good idea. I thought that was really cool. Thank you, Dr. Mod. What do you guys think? Is that a cool theme for the show? Just something
Yeah,
to
we
keep in
can
the
do
back of our
that.
head. It's not like the thing we're gonna address, but it's like something we want. Like specifically, but we're gonna keep that at the back of our minds and at the front of our spear tips as we charge through this episode and through all the ideas that we go through. So, I mean, I'm a believer that design should reduce anxiety. I think that if you're going to design for people, the things that you're designing for them should make their lives more comfortable, right? And I'm not much of a capitalist.
The good idea brand.
So I think that's just the right
idea
way to
brand,
do it. What? The good idea brand? Go ahead.
The good idea brand is basically grounding and reducing anxiety.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of because there's so much of it. I was thinking earlier when I saw that tweet, I got this image of like how I think of anxiety as like a big cloud space in front of me that of chaos, and I think of depression as like a deep dark pit behind me of sadness, and then like I can fall into one of them or leap into the other, and either way, like that's like the idea. And this is very like Gnostic Christianity, where like the robber on one side of Jesus on the cross is the future and the robber on the other side is the past. I think anxiety is the future. I think
Aiden,
depression is the past. What?
Have you ever tried walking to the left or the right?
I was, I was thinking about that, but then the cloud in front of me said not to, because there might be bears.
Have you tried the secret
That's
option, which is
because-
walking on sunshine?
Walking on sunshine
one
is
of the
the
sides is
secret option.
uncertainty.
I think to get to the sunshine, though, usually I feel like I would have to wade through the one or the other, because that's what they tell me. The pit whispers to me in a deep, deep voice, like, wade backwards. And then the cloud in front of me is like, come here. And it's like anxiety.
Jesus
and it's like,
Christ!
and there's no
God.
other option, because there might be bears and I can't see the sunshine because there's a pit and there's a cloud.
Because there might be bears.
And there might be bears.
I think you're
And
a little
lions
closer
and
to that
monkeys, oh
cloud
my.
than you think you are.
You think? The cloud tells me
Yeah, I think
Wait.
you might be.
the cloud tells me a lot. Telling you though.
But which kind of bear?
Wait, no. So hold on. Give me a second. I had to finish the sentence. I'm so bad at finishing sentences and ideas. Sometimes this is important. The image I got in my head that I really liked was the idea of a funnel for clouds, not a funnel cloud, but like a funnel for clouds. Essentially, like a funnel to ground the anxiety cloud. Something that would catch the cloud and then force it down into the pit. So like stuffing the anxiety into the depression using a giant magical funnel to circumvent, kind of like a roundabout, not a roundabout. Like
You're talking about a tornado.
Sure,
A funnel cloud
Maybe
that
it is a
digs
funnel
into
cloud.
the earth of your depression. It hones the chaos into a poke at the earth hole of your depression and unites them. And sometimes it even causes lightning, and that's happiness. It just comes really quickly and then it's gone.
I'm in the pursuit of
powerful.
happiness, and I know.
I'm in the
I don't remember the rest of the
Getting-
words.
Getting a stick to the anxiety cloud and making a candy floss of anxiety that you stick in the bin of depression.
I like that. Yeah, Bill, that's a good thought. Okay, and if you eat the candy floss of anxiety,
lie to
what
me.
happens? The problem is that the anxiety cloud is like it's also, there's so much possibility inside it, so you don't want to get rid of it. But if you could funnel it into the pit of depression, where it becomes where you get the same level of certainty about your anxiety that you have about the depression, it's no longer anxiety, then you're predicting the future. So that's the trick, right? If you can like harden your
Prophecy.
anxiety into reality in a productive way.
You're talking about some magic shit right there.
Well, here's the thing.
That's
Okay,
right.
so first of all, Jeff
the Oracle
Griggs,
of
who is my level
Delphi.
4 teacher at IO right now for improv, was a student of Del Close, the inventor of long form improv. And I just bought my teacher's book, and I really want to read it because it's all about Del Close. And I think that I might be, in some ways, Del Close a little bit. Now, that's okay for me to think because Del was apparently a witch. And so if someone thinks they might be Del Close a little bit, of all the people to think they might be a little bit, Del Close would be a good one. Because, I don't really believe that like Del Close's spirit left his body and entered me, but I do think that Neil Gaiman's American Gods talks a lot about how the idea of the thing is the same as the thing that thing is, which is a theory I've kind of always subscribed to, which I think is why I'm so drawn to that book, because it solidifies that for me in the way I'm describing that we should solidify the anxiety cloud. It becomes productive. The question becomes productive. But anyway, that what? Go ahead.
Are you saying if the idea of the thing, it becomes a thing, that if enough listeners believe that anxiety to cloud, that it will become a tangible being, and in the laws of roleplay games, if we can stat it, we can kill it?
Yes.
But we don't want to kill it.
We don't want to kill
Well, we don't
anxiety,
kill-
but also...
well,
But
you're
then we
saying
could
we should
move
kill
it
it.
into
Bill
the
is-
pit of
Bill is
depression, like you
suggesting-
said.
Yeah, yes. But Bill is just sort of proposing the idea that we could kill. I think Bill is more saying is the idea that we would harden the anxiety cloud into a cloud by believing in it really hard.
It's very important to me that you know that he literally just like gave you the entire background of his roleplay game that he created. Like
Oh.
the entirety of that is that if enough people believe in it, it will be a thing. And so like you
Well,
can
that's
fight
not just
things
the-
because people
Yes.
believe in them.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
Hey guys, if you harden the anxiety cloud, you're gonna have rain, and
rain
maybe
of
lower
doubt.
barometric
Oh
pressure.
my god.
Rain of doubt.
the rain of doubt.
The rain of doubt, the
Holy
cloud of
shit.
anxiety, the rain of doubt, the mist of uncertainty.
I'm just gonna
There's
go because I think
definitely a
Bill's
book
got
like
this on
this.
lock.
Bill's got it. G
The
can
black
go.
ice of
No,
terror.
G, you're
Sometimes
staying.
doubt is
Hold on a second though. So
Wait.
that's so cool though. That's so cool because that's when you say G. You've said before that you thought Hoball would totally be my shit. Hoball is the name of the RPG we're talking about. So we have 2 RPG designers. I guess 3 plus myself. I don't know if George has ever done an RPG. Pretty much everyone on this call is an RPG designer. But so we're gonna
I've not
geek out
designed
about
one, but I
that.
have played one.
George plays a lot of video games, so that counts. George has a strong instinct for what that looks like. So we're gonna geek out about RPGs today, kids. That's gonna happen. Bill, I love that. I've really wanted to play Hoball since I've heard talk of it, but G has told me repeatedly that it seems like
Yes.
totally my shit. It sounds like that idea of
I'm
like
obsessed with it.
if enough people believe in the thing, it will solidify. I really like the idea of there being a game with mechanics for that. That's really cool because I think that like so neatly that so neatly describes what really happens and how magic actually works. And the thing I was so
Right?
excited about your game was the idea of the magic in it. And now that I know that the theory behind the magic in it matches what I liked about the magic in it, that's pretty damn cool. That's very exciting.
Thank you very much.
It's good.
And next up on Good Idea, everyone roll
next up-
characters.
Oh, we'll do that.
Oh,
no,
I'm into
okay,
it.
next Sunday. We're doing another recording next Sunday. That's what we should do.
I'm with it.
We can do that.
We'll just do
Ooh,
some
bloody
Hoball.
hell.
We can
Right,
make our
okay,
characters. We'll make our. We're not
All
going
right,
to
we'll
make our
have to
characters
do
on
some
the show
quick
right now.
character
But
creation.
I'm saying we'll do character creation in this week in between, and then we'll play on Sunday.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. That'd be really
Okay,
fucking
guys.
cool.
Blimey, all right.
If magic, if
Okay, I'm
magic
committed.
draws its power from belief, right? Then one could say that the gods and shit throughout history drew their power from belief. And when people started to be like, that god's
That-
whack,
yes,
I got
yeah.
this new one.
That's a thing in Hoball too.
It kept fluctuating.
Yeah, Jeff. That's how.
That's
And-
the thing in Hoball
and
too.
what if-
American
okay,
gods.
so in
That's
that-
it's
in
a
that
good thing.
vein-
It's good. That's how
That's
religion
also
give
works.
Percy
this-
Jackson.
All right,
Yes.
I'll give
So
you an
if I can
example.
follow this to its logical point.
Let Jeff keep going. I'm sorry, we keep interrupting you.
If we have an anxiety cloud and rain of doubt and a funnel, a magic funnel, I believe, if all those things are true, we can make a new god that reduces anxiety. You know?
Well, no, but that's kind of
We
the
don't
idea.
need healing hands. We just chill.
Well, so I have an
A new
idea for
chill
what that
god.
god is going to be. That was what I was talking about when I said we could replace the iPhone. When we were talking before the call, how I have an idea for how we can replace the iPhone. No, it all connects. It all fucking connects. This is so fucking cool. This is like exactly what this podcast is supposed to be. This was so good. Okay, so we're talking about how religion works here, which is essentially like when people believe in things, that rock solid belief makes things happen. That's almost a direct quote from Neil Gaiman. I think Neil Gaiman's American Gods is the new Bible. I think it is a better version of the Bible. Because it doesn't prescribe to tell anyone. It doesn't prescribe to tell anyone what to do at all. It doesn't attempt to do that. It doesn't say it's trying to do that. But what it does do is it does do the hero's journey. It's a 20-hour long audiobook worth of hero's journey of a character that is designed to is named Shadow and thus designed to be relatable to everyone and is the son of a god. So Shadow's Jesus. It's the new Bible. And it makes a lot of sense, like all the metaphor in it, and it just explains it so much more clearly, and in such a better, more fun, less shitty way. So if that rock solid belief is the thing that makes things happen, which is like kind of the basis of Lindsay Lugner's powers on Shattered Worlds, it's like, I mean, it's a theme in all of literature. That's just what story is, and so that leads me into my pitch, if I may. For my idea that connects to all of this.
Wait, are you pitching a new religion? Is that what's happening here?
Sort of. I mean, it's effectively a religion, but it's not. I mean, I think I also think science is a religion. I think a lot of things are religions. I think that
capitalism is a religion.
I think a myth. We'll start off now with just the idea that myth is anything that has a shared meaning. So like that's how belief comes to make things happen. The word myth is shared meaning, and then like story structure. Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, which I won't shut up about anymore at this point. It's all I talk about. So cool because it's the common story structure, the underlying pattern that runs into infinite different expressions in the lives of our people and in the stories they tell, but it's the one pattern that everybody lives over and over again. And so here's my pitch for you. The stories we tell ourselves design our reality. You are currently in your ordinary world. You don't know it yet, but that is about to change. Welcome to your story. Human beings have always made sense of their world through stories. Why shouldn't their digital world help them do the same? Currently, the metaphor humans are using for the devices that rule our lives is one of a tool that helps one to accomplish an immediate goal. As user-friendly by Kuang and Fabricant points out, the next step in smart technology is an AI device that helps the user to accomplish their higher order, long-term human goals. The most revolutionary smart technology today will be something that is able to increase our level of capacity for connection while even further simplifying and making comprehensive our user-friendly lives. It will be something that humans could only arrive at in something as powerful and transcendent as story. Now, that is not in the book, and that's also not written in my pitch. That part is my sentence. A metaphor that is metaphor. Story is a way for humans to turn the complex content of their lives into powerful, understandable simplifications that need not fear lacking nuance for the nature of the human brain's relationship to story. A story is the map that is the territory. Neil Gaiman. I'm pitching a digital augmented reality narrative assistant. Similar to the one in Be More Chill that is an absolute disaster and almost takes over the entire world. I understand that there are...
Oh, good. Great.
No. Hold on. So I'm saying that because I'm acknowledging that there's infinite media made about this type of thing. Maybe not infinite, but it's done before multiple times in many different forms. There's media about some form of the digital augmented reality narrative assistant. I don't think any of them are called that or specifically perform the functions I would propose.
It's so
that this
exciting.
would. But in Be More Chill, essentially the big danger of it is that it's an AI machine that goes inside your brain and it tells you what to do to help you accomplish your goals. And it helps you do it. Jeff, it's funny because you put in our chat today a suggestion about like sci-fi robot overlords that really want to help people, which is like the creepy thing in the Squip in Be More Chill by Ned Vizzini, who also wrote as kind of a funny story, which if you've heard of one and haven't heard, yeah, there you go. Read Be More Chill or listen to the musical, even better. I have the poster for the musical on my wall next to me. It's a really wonderful show.
I've heard that in the new Westworld season, which starts tonight, there is a company that does something similar to that. I don't know what the device connection is, but
I saw that on the Twitter.
I'm excited to see how they do it.
I was scared when I saw that on the Twitter because I'm like, did Westworld fucking beat me to the punch by like a day? I mean, they tweeted that like the same day I came up with this thing. Like that's fucking wild. But that means they would have come up with it before me. But it's not the same.
It's all about
not the same
whether
thing.
You have the good ideas. It's who implements them
that's also
first.
true.
Damn
You know,
right.
like really gets
Okay.
the
So the thing,
credit.
So the thing is called a digital augmented reality narrative assistant.
Well, that's just that's what I would say it does. It is a that's what it does. It's a digital augmented reality narrative assistant. It is it
How about we call it
externalizes what?
How about
I've
we call
already
it
named
Darna?
the product.
Darna? You know, it's Darna.
Darna? That's very
That's its
good,
name.
except if we wanted to give it a name. The only thing is, that is kind of the issue. So hold on 1 second. I like the idea for Darna, but it's just called Story.
Oh.
That's why it's called Story. It's just called Story. Because in design, the things that succeed are often named for their affordance and tell you exactly what they do without you having to like the best design. You can pick it up and use it without needing to read a manual at all. If you hear that it's the thing that will replace the iPhone, if a digital augmented reality narrative assistant that will help you connect with others and grow yourself as a human being, like
You know,
and it's called
Pokemon
Story.
Go,
That tells you so much.
People, you know how in Pokemon Go, like how people were getting together and like getting Pokemon? Imagine all linked through the system that encourages them to do stuff that's like positive.
Kinda. Hold on.
I don't know which company would go for that.
It's kind of like that, but let me get to the because I don't want to say I'm being interrupted because it's a podcast, so it's a conversation. But I have not been able to get to the point that separates this from the thing and Be More Chill. So I'm still stuck on that. We can't really talk about this until we get past the thing that would make this horrible and bad. So all of the media that is about this type of thing, where it becomes a total disaster, tends to show either hive mind type hyperconnectivity and loss of individualism, or in this case of like Be More Chill, you have the Squip, which says, I'm going to improve your life, Jeremy, even if I have to take over the entire human race to do it. Like it's like something like that. Because it gets inside the guy's head and it really wants to help Jeremy. And whether or not that's actually true, it's unclear. But the idea is that it is a machine that has come to its own conclusion about what the best way to. So we've talked about the laws of robotics on the show before, right? Like robots can't do improv. This would be like the idea that in all these situations we have these machines that are like telling people what to do. It goes inside your brain and it tells you what to do. The book User Friendly that I talked about in my pitch there, I don't know if any of you know who B.F. Skinner is. G, I'm sure you do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Skinner box, the book pitches that the iPhone is a Skinner box for people. And it's really cool how it does that. And it's true. It's the first ever history of industrial design. But that's the problem with the iPhone.
Oh my god!
It's a Skinner box
My
for
brain
people.
just short-circuited when you said that.
I gotta send you the book. You would fucking love the book, and I think good idea would be exponentially better if multiple of us had read this, because it's fucking mind blowing. Every chapter of it is fucking mind blowing. I just finished the whole thing except for the afterword yesterday, and then I got to the afterword, and I was like, oh, the afterword's the thing I really hoped they would put in the book that I thought they didn't. It's like a guide to how to think about the world as a designer, based on like 100 years of research on industrial design. It's really cool. It's called User Friendly. I'll just recommend it right now. User Friendly, how the hidden rules of design are changing the way we something. It's really cool. It's a fucking whack book. It's insane. But the pitch is essentially that the iPhone is you go to your iPhone and you can go and change all these individual settings and download apps and use it to accomplish your immediate goals the way you might use a hammer or a calendar to accomplish your immediate goals. But you wouldn't go to a personal trainer and say, I want to do 30 bicep curls today, please. If you wanted to use your iPhone like the way most people think they can and want to use their iPhone to make themselves better, higher functioning people, which is what good design should do. A good product should make you a more connected to your human goals and more able to complete them. It shouldn't take those away from you. Part of the problem with the iPhone is that it's super capitalist. So I want... And I love the iPhone. I think that the iPhone is a product made by a company that is willingly trying to cause the communist revolution a little bit. I kind of think Apple does not. No, for real. Like I think Apple is a company that sincerely wants people to do better. And I think that the thing is like the iPhone can be used by any company to become a variable reward box for people to open up, and they design their own variable reward boxes out of collections of different apps that give them variable rewards and push them in different directions. And it's like they're trying to map this thing to help them accomplish their goals. Well, everybody who's actually super successful and feels super fulfilled generally feels like they have a lot of human connections. A lot of people who have issues with the iPhone feels like they don't have those things in real life, in person, whatever. The book User Friendly pitches the iPhone also as a response to the television, which was the mass media communication device before the iPhone, which was hyper isolating and non-communicative. So the iPhone is hyper connective, and it's also tricking everyone into thinking it's helping them a lot when it is, and it also isn't, because it's changing the people more than they are changing it, which isn't necessarily bad. I don't believe in goods and bads. It's a lot, right?
Fuck, Aiden.
What? Yeah. Are you fucking with me, or are you happy with this?
No.
Okay. So hear me out. Here's the thing with story. It isn't it's not an AI that goes into your brain and tells you what to do. It isn't that. Everyone's gonna think it's that when I talk about what it is. It isn't that, because it will be specifically designed not to do these variable reward things. It will not. You cannot get the Domino's app on your story. That is not an option. You can talk to Domino's on your story. You can use your story as like a phone to contact Domino's. You cannot get the Domino's app. Domino's cannot sell to you through your story. Not an option. Now if you
no capitalism.
I mean the capitalism can exist around the story, and you can, but the thing is like it has to ask you questions. It has to get your responses.
That's a Star Trek computer, man. That's what's one of the things that's so beautiful about that show and other sci-fi things where robots are friendly, is like they could help us make difficult decisions faster by like doing the boring labor. Like they could give us suggestions. Like, dude, doing communication between characters in Mass Effect where you can pick like 3 or 4 things is so much easier than agonizing over every little decision. I think it could evolve us a little bit if robots were nice.
Well, here's the best part. This isn't just a robot. Imagine, Jeff, if you could Okay, this is really in depth. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've thought too much about this already, but I need to give the whole pitch because I want, like, this is my design team. Y'all are my design team. So let me have it when I'm done. Like, hit me with everything when I'm done. And also stop me when you need to say things. But I just feel so guilty right now. I feel so bad for taking up like everyone's time and talk space. But anyway, I know this is important and this is real and it's serious and it's good. So you wear your glasses or whatever, or your earpiece, or maybe you're blind and deaf and you carry around a little very cool, well-designed, like heavyweight, well-constructed device that will read out Braille messages that as you run your finger over them, it reads the pressure and then it will start typing a new one by replacing which dots are pushed up and not pushed up. Something like that would connect to some other device. I think the other device you would have essentially there would be a computer piece and then there would be whatever your receiving pieces or piece are. The computer piece would look like a pen or a wand or a talking stick. It would be meant to evoke all three of those ideas because all three of those ideas are storytelling ideas. And it would be just like a computer that you could essentially carry around in your breast pocket or in anywhere else you could keep a pen. The convenience of a vape, if you will. just because that's something everyone can relate to these days. And then you have like maybe that Braille device, which I just said because it's really important to me that like this shouldn't be inaccessible to anyone because it's just narrative. It's a narrative assistant. It's not where you watch Netflix. You can use it to open Netflix on another device by talking to it. You cannot watch Netflix on it. It is a narrative assistant. It is not a capitalist product. Y'all understand what I mean? This externalizes your internal monologue.
Hell yes.
It's like carrying around a journal all the time. You essentially, the big issue is you have to turn over your privacy to it. You have to let the AI analyze you. But guess what? Facebook's already fucking doing it. So is every other company.
And the NSA.
That Facebook could do this for you. All of the things
Well,
that
the
I would hope
difference
that this could
between
do,
that and this, though, is that the difference between that and this is that it's not using this analyzation of you to advertise to you.
Oh yeah, and that's a huge difference. That's what I'm saying. People are already doing this to you. This is just nicer.
Yeah.
And the old and here's the coolest
At least
part.
to be upfront about it by going, look, we're going to be doing this.
Extremely upfront about it, and also it has to ask questions. That's the big thing. User friendly talks about that, about like with self-driving cars and any AI situation. Humans will trust AIs a lot more if the AI communicates to them a feedback of some kind of what it's about to do. So like in this situation, because it's helping you write your story, it's not a Skinner box anymore. It's a canvas. It's a huge virtual reality canvas that doesn't rely on having to create virtual reality like 3D structures, because it uses the human narrative brain and the hero's journey and the concepts of the hero's journey and Jungian archetypes to help people analyze their lives and actualize themselves into the people they most want to be by helping them tell their own stories. Narrative psychology is like the big thing in psychology right now for a reason. This piggybacks on that. This piggybacks on all the issues with the iPhone and with television. It pushes them all down. It stands up on top of them and it says, look at me, I'm the solution. This idea helps people connect more with others by helping them understand where those people fit into their stories, as opposed to what those people's wrong opinions are. This is a good device. This is story, and it's looking forward by looking back, and it's saying religion was a really good idea. Let's take advantage of the things that were good about it and get rid of all the things that were harmful about it. Which are very similar to the things that are harmful about the iPhone and social media. That's my pitch. In story, you could also access a platonic ideal reality that would use any data that users allowed the machine to be sent to the public to construct a sort of godlike being that could function as a mentor, as a as a friend, like the ideal human versions of all the archetypes. You could switch into the narrative, or you could talk to your own.
Okay,
I don't know. You could have both.
I am like, I understand this idea. It seems cool, but okay, I don't want to be a naysayer, but okay. Some context.
It's not being a naysayer. We're talking.
Context.
We're learning
First
things.
off, I've been playing Watch Dogs 1 again because, hey, 1, it takes place in Chicago. 2, I love sci-fi. I'm getting a CTOS vibe off of this, and I'm not. Okay.
I don't know what that means. You're going to have to use not an acronym.
I forget what CTOS kind of stands for. Something central operating system. Central operating system. There, it's popping back to me. I gotta remember that sexy Watch Dogs lore.
Operating. That's. There's. What's the T, George? What's
a
the
little
T?
bit too close to the CTOS in terms of like, yeah, we'll give it all its data. It's gonna help you out. It's gonna ask you questions and stuff. Like it.
What's the problem with the CTOS? The problem is you're just saying an acronym. You're not. The CTOS doesn't mean Central Operating System, because there's a T in it, and there's not a T in Central Operating System other than the one in the word central. So it's not.
But like in terms of like function and stuff, it's.
I don't have any clue what you're talking about.
Try to get some sort of. You say is it some sort of narrative? That's right. Right. It's what the.
Well, like your internal monologue. It's like when you think like, man, these are who my friends are. These are my enemies. This is the things that I hate. This is where I'm going this evening and why. These are my motivations. Like this is my, oh man, they're always such a trickster. I feel like I can't trust them.
It does.
You know?
Yeah,
like your narrative, the things that you think about in your head.
Something like that with like but it does it with probabilities and stuff. Cold and calculated type thing instead of more of a narrative focus type thing. And it's kind of used more for corruption and stuff. And in Chicago, and I worry that would kind of happen, I guess.
That's why you got to Star Trek it and say it's nonprofit. It's available to everyone. There's no like evil corporate overlord programming it bad.
Yes, I'm sure.
I mean, in some way, it would have
that.
Well, that's the problem. Is like not everyone will trust it, except they might. Like people are already trusting it. Like I think that the key to selling this or getting it out there is going to be like you have to make everyone aware of how truthfully it is. I mean, I think everyone already kind of is though. How truthful it is that the corporations are already doing this to you. The key with this would be you could turn it off and it wouldn't be always listening to you. It wouldn't, that's the problem. And it wouldn't be connected to the internet. It would only be connected to the other stories. It would be connected to its own thing. Go ahead, Bill.
The bit I'm curious about, you say that it helps achieve people to get their own story, but the question is, how do you define the story? Do you just say, I want to be a success. I want to be a hero, in which case it starts leading you towards situations where you have to save people because that's what you want to be. That's your character. Or, sorry, this is my lit student brain kicking in.
No, don't apologize. These are the right questions.
Or is it like I keep walking around and eventually a story will find me? Because most stories are just snippets of a life that you interact with in various different situations, because happily ever after isn't necessarily an ending. Because you keep going through a certain point. So it's a question as to whether you are trying to live your life as an archetypal character. So if you are the trickster or the king or the warrior or whatever in that sort of degree, or whether you are being pulled along in that route. How's he doing, man?
What? What's up? Oh, I
I'm just seeing you sort of smile, be like, yeah.
I'm just happy. I like these questions. Because
so
it makes me happy
how you define the story.
Well, that's the cool thing, right? So the hero's journey is different for it's a pattern that exists in all the stories, but it expresses itself in different ways, and it has infinite varieties of expression, and it doesn't all like it's a base pattern that mostly happens mostly like this, and the key to this story is. It's like a journal. it's not it's not telling you a story. It's your story. You own this story. It is your piece of story. Your story is yours. You own the story, capital S, and you tell it your story. It's like journaling, kind of, at first and at continuance. But essentially you let it, you give it access to what you give it access to, which is ideally everything. Maybe that's just how you have, maybe we get to a place like in the design process where we're like, maybe that's just how you have to pitch it to people. You need to give up you need to let it analyze you. Because at some point I think that's the best way to do it. You let it analyze you, and then, but it doesn't get to give that to anybody. Only you have that. And then what you can do is you can say, well, my friend Bill has a story too, and I would like for Bill to be able to see my story. I try this. It's kind of like on Snapchat, but it's like way more like walking inside other people's brains. And
yo, that'd be like historical fucking
a little bit.
Or like emotional.
Emotional would have been a better
Depends
word.
on what process you're looking for. Sexual.
Well, the thing is though, that's the cool part. So like imagine, let's say it's glasses. I'm going to use the metaphor of glasses. Let's say you're wearing glasses and then you get a readout of essentially floating captions in your favorite font, right out in front of you, helping you contextualize your surroundings if you want them there. You can turn them on and off whenever you want. You turn them on, it'll come on. It's like when you turn it on, it's not like it's been there the whole time. It's like it hasn't been recording information when it's been off. So you are writing your story when you'd like to be writing your story. When you're doing that, it's recording the information. It's getting your stats, kind of like if you harden. This is how you harden your belief into real things, because what it does is it takes everything that you are thinking and feeling and seeing, and it helps you journal about it. Because everybody wishes they journaled more, but everyone wishes they journaled every day because it's good for your brain. It's good for your brain to sit down and write stuff. Well, maybe it's kind of just good for your brain to think about things and to process things and to like it's like however you end up doing that. There's 100 things that are good for your brain. Just pick one. Here's something that, like, you ever watch Black Mirror? You see the entire history of you. That
I
sucks.
have not seen that show.
Okay, well, in that episode, it's just people essentially have an implant that lets them watch back through memories and moments in their lives.
That's
There's
cool
no AI talking them through it. There's no words that they have in context with it. They just see the thing that happened. This is completely unuseful.
I have memory loss, so that sounds really cool, actually. But sure. I can see where it would be bad as a psychologist.
Yes, exactly. So this would be kind of like in that, but instead of seeing the things that you've been through, you go back and remember the things that you've thought. This doesn't tell you what you've thought. It just helps you. It helps you do it. And the only thing that AI is doing is it's helping you contextualize your story into the hero's journey and possibly other types of story analysis. It uses story analysis to help you accomplish your goals by understanding how stories work. And if you are at this place in the story and you want this right now, how can you best accomplish that if you would like the help of your story?
I do have a question about it.
Yes, go ahead.
When do you receive one of these? When do you get one? Do you get one as a child when you start writing your own story?
Well, I think that would be the thing, right? I mean, here's the hard part. It can't be free. I don't want it to be a capitalist thing in regards to, I don't want it to be capitalistically motivated. I don't want it to be the thing that makes me rich, TM, at all. Like, it's not the point. The idea is just that I think this would be really cool. I want it to be as affordable and accessible as possible. I would like it to be, I think Google could do this. I think Google would be the company, if I was going to go to a company right now and say, I want to make this thing. I think this is the answer. I think this will destroy Apple. I think I think Google might like that. I think Google might take me up on that if I had the right pitch. That's the thing, though. Like, it would need power and money behind it. When do you get it? Ideally, as early as possible. But that's the thing, is it's like, can a kid even use it? How useful would that be? How useful would it be to be 6 years old? And it would be interesting, right? But that's the thing, is like, it's going to make a new type of person. The iPhone made a new type of person. This would make a new type of person. It would change people. But this is, I mean, Jeff, this is kind of like... I
designed a system similar to this back in the anti-war days. And it was
Jeff
all about
is very
coalition
pro-war
building
these days. I don't know if you listeners are aware of that. But
I mean, when I was active as an activist, as an opponent of the Iraqi invasion. Anyway, I was designing this thing, and then I talked to a web developer, and it would have cost like $50,000 to start and like $25,000 a year or whatever. And at its most basic, and I was like, damn, like, yeah, power and money is real useful if you're going to develop an idea.
Uh-huh. But that's the nice thing about today, that ideas like this, if someone hears this and thinks it's really cool, they can share it with their friend. And then they might think it, like, this is the type of thing that, like, this is the secret, putting it out into the universe, whatever. Like, this is my copyright claim to this idea. Okay, like, this is my idea. I understand that it's not, it just like every other idea, it comes from other things that came before it. Whack. But I'm really excited about it, and I'm definitely down to put time and energy into developing it. What are your more thoughts from you guys? I mean, I've kind of laid out my pitch. I mean, it helps you. I have a lot more ideas about it, about how it might help you contextualize. Like, I need a friend right now, and it helps. And then I might say that, and then it will understand based on what I've told it and the questions it's asked, which people that I know that also have stories, or maybe that don't have story. If they also have stories, it might suggest I call them on the story, whatever, kind of like a telepathy link. If I don't have a story, but it would be kind of like half texting, maybe. I don't know. It depends. You could have audio, both. But if they don't have a story, it could even suggest, like, you've talked to me about Jonathan before. Jonathan doesn't have it wouldn't say Jonathan doesn't have a story, but it would just be, it would know that, so it wouldn't suggest you call Jonathan. It would just be like, you could go see Jonathan. It could remind you of plans you have with Jonathan, whatever. Like, essentially, it would understand the types of things that you do to feel better by asking you questions.
Aiden,
what?
Just to jump in here, a feature I thought
Go
of.
ahead.
You know how a pen goes, sometimes pens go like click, click.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have 2 or 3 different clicks.
Yep.
Like, what if one is like, I'm going to talk to my friend, or one is I'm going to listen to my friend, or one is I'm going to broadcast to my friend,
I think it
or
would
coworker, or whatever.
I think that's really cool.
That'd be fun.
I like the idea of that. I also was thinking the top of the pen would kind of do that. Oh, it also would kind of invoke a sonic screwdriver a little bit. That idea of the the pen piece. I really like the idea though of just
like a tricorder.
It's kind of like you're wearing glasses of some kind. The glasses would be cool too because they could be like blue blockers and polarized sunglasses, so they could just like make people's eyes hurt less. Whatever. I don't know.
Now that they have voice transcription, like one of the clicks can be, I want to add to my story right now, or I want to ask a question, and you just talk into it like normal, and it records your voice as text, so that
totally. And that's what's so awesome about having that platonic. Okay, so the platonic ideal, the idea of believing in things so much that they are what is real. That's what a platonic ideal is. It's like the human average of something, the human thought average of something, and humans think in language. And so a digital narrative assistant would be the most powerful way to actualize myth. And to actualize myth would be the most powerful way to help humans actualize themselves, because it's the most basic way humans have always done so. So it's the thing our brains are most designed to do. Dan Harmon, Christopher Vogler, get at me. Come help me design this thing. You guys are cool story analysts. Robert McKee. I haven't read your books yet, but you're pretty cool.
Digital narrative assistant, DNA.
Whoa,
That's interesting.
Holy shit.
What if there are 4 basic kind of stories and the way they connect in a D&D, or I mean, not a D&D, a DNA chain creates a new organism of thought. And that's what we've been missing this whole time.
Oh my God.
We got adapine and tapine and celequine or whatever those things are. There's 4 of them. One of them's fucking. One of them's eating. One of them's shitting. You know, like that.
I mean, yeah, I think that's plenty pitch on story from my part today. You guys get the idea. I have more ideas written down, kind of more in my head, but that's the pitch. We can talk more about it in the future as we have more ideas. Listeners, if you think that's really cool, get at me. Talk to me about what you think sucks about it. Ask me questions. It needs to go through the ringer, and I need to find out what's bad and what doesn't work, and what does work and what's cool. But I think that would help people lower their anxiety too. Like for me, at least, I know it would help a lot because it would just it would solidify things a lot. I think the anxiety of and that fear, I like that cloud metaphor a lot because it's everywhere and it's only there if you let it be there and walk into it. You don't have to walk into it, but it's there. And inside it, there's lots of cool stuff. And this could help you walk into it and contextualize it because every time I take 3 seconds to write down a list of the things that I have to do today, that is a better day than the other days that I don't do that thing. And most days I don't do that thing. Well, what if I'm so obsessed with this. Sorry, I'm just really excited. It's just a cool idea. It actualizes
friendly personal robots. I'm up for it.
What was that?
Friendly personal robots, in your brain.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. I don't know. I also think it would be a cure for people thinking that life is miserable and pointless all the time. Because story and myth is how we've always actualized ourselves. I know I already said that, but the point of that is that's the grounding effect. It helps you figure out who the fuck you are. It helps you tell your own story. It's not an AI with its own personality. It's an AI that does its best to mimic your personality. And it does not ever make a definitive decision on what that is. And it always keeps asking questions before doing things. That's the key. That is how you remain in control. Always ask questions.
Cool.
What?
AI or VI?
AI or VI?
Yeah. Is it something that appears to be intelligent, something that's actually intelligent? Because if it's actually intelligent, it would mean it would have its own thought processes and input. VI, it would basically be an intelligent tool that would respond to your intention.
On Shattered Worlds, I cut that line and you can't have actual AI in the world. It's outlawed or something. It's frowned upon.
The same thing in Shadowrun.
Because it's so much easier. Because if your story device all of a sudden had its own life and personality and needs and shit, but it can't go anywhere than your life, that's all of a sudden having a twin
that sounds eerily
that is mad at you.
The movie Her with that. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson.
Her got mad at him.
The AI slowly becomes more and more intelligent as the movie goes on.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part, right? That's what people are afraid of. That's the be more chill Nedvazini thing. And I think that idea of I've never heard of VI before. I think that's a good point. Go ahead, Bill.
The idea of artificial intelligence and humanity coming up closest, along with Philip K. Dick's essay, "The Android and the Human," which is the idea that eventually we will pass each other and keep going in the opposite directions. That the more and more sophisticated technology gets, the better they are at replicating humanity, as opposed to us who will become more and more dependent, meaning that we become progressively less intelligent and we'll kind of meet and then pass each other, and one will surpass the other. Is partially a theory to it, but no, it's that question as to whether the story is intelligent or whether it is just a clever tool to help facilitate because you have different implications of that. It's the same way of wondering as to whether the story has a morality. Because if you decide your story is, I want to be a serial killer, and it wants to help you, it's the same way you have people go, hey, Alexa, tell me where I can find a place to dump bodies. And that was a really funny joke. But if you have a machine that legitimately is like, yeah, your story is that you genuinely want to kill people, then it'll go, yeah, okay, sure, this is how to do it. These are the people in your area. Here are people who are good victims for you. So that's the question you got to wonder.
This episode is really interesting too because it just sort of ends.